All right, let's talk about something that can be a real headache, even for people who've been in the safety game for years. What's the actual difference between an OSHA recordable incident and a reportable one? Getting this right is absolutely crucial for staying compliant, so let's clear it all up.
Okay, just picture this for a second. An employee gets hurt on the clock. You're the one in charge. What's the immediate next step? Is this something you just jot down in a log to deal with later, or do you need to get on the phone with OSHA, like right now? The answer to that question really hinges on knowing the difference between recordable and reportable.
And look, this isn't just some boring paperwork exercise. Getting it wrong can have some pretty serious consequences. For example, just look at what happened back in 2022. OSHA hit 6 different Amazon warehouses with fines because they were misclassifying injuries. It's a pretty clear signal that the agency does not mess around with these rules.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with what it means to be recordable. Think of this as your company's safety diary. Then we'll cover the reportable incidents. Those are the urgent alerts. We'll put them side by side to highlight the key differences, walk through a couple of real-world scenarios, and then wrap up with why this all matters so much.
All right, first up, let's dive into recordable incidents. I really like this way of thinking about it. It's basically your company's internal safety diary.
So what is it exactly? Well, a recordable incident is any work-related injury or illness that crosses certain specific lines set by OSHA. The main thing you have to do here is log it, for your own internal records and for the summary you send to the agency each year. And the main tool you're going to use for this is the good old OSHA Form 300 log. This is pretty much the central nervous system for your internal safety tracking. Every single one of these recordable incidents has to be documented right here.
So, what are these lines or triggers that I mentioned? According to OSHA's own rules, an incident has to be recorded if it results in any of these things: a death, unfortunately, any days away from work, having to put an employee on restricted duty or transfer them, any medical treatment that goes beyond basic first aid, if someone loses consciousness, or if they get what's called a significant diagnosis from a doctor, like a broken bone or cancer.
And you're on the clock. The second you find out a recordable incident happened, you have exactly 7 calendar days to get it onto that OSHA 300 log.
Okay, that's the diary. Now let's talk about the other side of the coin, reportable incidents. And if recordables are the diary, then these are the flashing red lights, the urgent alerts.
A reportable incident, well, we're talking about a much more severe event. The action here isn't just to log it, it's to notify OSHA directly and fast. And here's a super important point. This rule applies to all employers. Even small companies that might be exempt from the day-to-day record keeping still have to follow these reporting rules. No exceptions.
For the absolute worst case scenario, a work-related fatality, that clock is moving incredibly fast. You have just 8 hours from the time you find out to report it to OSHA.
For other severe incidents, we're talking specifically about an employee being admitted to a hospital as an inpatient, an amputation, or the loss of an eye. You get a little more time, but not much. It's still a super tight 24-hour window to make that direct report.
Okay, so we've got the 2 categories down. Now let's really put them head to head so you can see the differences plain as day. Let's just break this down. When we talk severity, a recordable incident can be anything from needing a few stitches to taking a day off to recover. But reportable? Man, that is reserved for the absolute worst outcomes. A fatality, being admitted to the hospital, an amputation, or losing an eye. The action you have to take is also night and day. Recordables get logged internally on that Form 300. Reportables demand an immediate, external call or online report to OSHA. And of course, the deadlines. You have a whole week for recordables, but only 8 or 24 hours for reportables. So that's all the theory. Now let's see how these rules actually play out in some real-world situations.
Okay, first one. A worker gets a cut on their finger from a machine. It's not a disaster, but it definitely needs stitches from a doctor. What do you think? Is this recordable, reportable, or something else?
The answer is, it's recordable, but it is not reportable. Why? Because getting stitches is explicitly called out by OSHA as medical treatment beyond first aid. That's a classic trigger for being recordable. But since it didn't involve a hospitalization or anything more severe, you don't need to make that urgent call.
All right, let's try a more serious one. A worker falls from a ladder. They're taken to the hospital and they are formally admitted for 2 days to get treated for a concussion. Now what's the play?
This one, it's the double whammy. It's both. It is absolutely recordable. I mean, it ticks multiple boxes. There was a loss of consciousness, medical treatment, and days away from work. But the key here is that it's also reportable because it involved an inpatient hospitalization. So in this case, you log it on your Form 300 and you notify OSHA within that 24-hour window.
So we've covered the what and the how. But before we wrap up, let's just talk for a second about the why. Why is it so important to get this right beyond just, staying out of trouble with OSHA?
And this is really the big takeaway. It's not just about checking a box for the government. Accurate record keeping is an incredibly powerful tool because, as one of our sources put it so well, it gives you a window into potential safety improvements. It's basically your roadmap to a safer workplace.
Think about it. When you log this stuff correctly, you're creating a goldmine of data. You can start to see patterns, right? You can spot those recurring problem areas, focus your safety training on what actually matters, and tweak your protocols to fix real documented hazards. It turns a chore into a tool.
And that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. Whether you have one recordable incident a year or 100, that data is telling a story. So, the real question is, what is your safety data telling you?